Hi.
Yeah.
Not sure what happened. I can't explain what happened. We were on my own live and loads of people had joined.
Oh no.
So I don't even know what happened. And Sola is the expert, but I think the expert was trumped this time.
Just like you, this is your...
Yeah, this is my expertise as well.
I think this is my first time on it live.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I kept on looking. I was like, can you mute this thing? Can you know?
Guys, you have to,
I hope all the other people will know where to join.
Yeah, they would. Yeah.
Okay, but you're here now. That's great. Hello.
Yeah, we told everyone to join Tight Knots UK. So
Anyway, I'll figure that. Linda, hi.
Hi,
everybody.
Thanks for joining.
Thanks for
Sorry
following
about
us.
the mix-up.
As soon as you joined, our audience level literally went from like 10 to 70. So it's
I don't know what happened.
It's okay.
I really don't know.
Live and learn.
Yeah.
It's so good to see you guys. Hi, welcome. So let's get into it. Thank you everyone for joining. The chat, what we're talking about today is pinned. So guys, check out the pin. And like I said, please forward this to married couples, single couples, anyone, just forward it to them so that they can share it on and enjoy tonight as well. Should we introduce ourselves? Because some people might not know who we are. I'll let you guys go first. You guys go first.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, you go.
So I am Sola Irukwu. I'm married to the lovely Irukwu. We have 3 kids, JJ, Noni, and Sochi. We lead Jesus House, a church in London. What else?
Yeah, that's it.
How long have you guys been married?
14 years, 15 years next year.
I was hoping you wouldn't ask me because I was getting wrong.
I'm good. I'll play that question. Okay, let's introduce ourselves.
Oh, you just PI introduce.
Oh, sorry, PI.
Okay, so I'm Irukwu. Everything Sola said is true. She's married to me. We have 3 children.
Did you say you're married to the lovely Sola Irukwu?
I'm married to the lovely, super technical Sola Irukwu.
I receive.
Oh, that's
yeah.
So good to have you guys. Welcome.
Thank you.
Who are we?
We're Antimidi. We're married with we've been married for 6 years now, right?
Yeah.
I have to say that you're quite good with this thing. I was looking at you. I was like, wow. You're really good with this thing.
So it's so funny because he's actually the tech expert. So Hobby works in tech. We call him FBI tech because he kind of does tech security stuff. So we call him kind of FBI, the tech stuff. But he hasn't done a live before.
Well, this thing is, you can't know it all. Can you?
But yes, we've been married for 6 years. Have 3 amazing children that constantly keep us on our toes. And yeah, just we want a good marriage, and I think so many people always start out wanting a good marriage. So we're hoping that you can give us some of that good marriage stuff, some of the energy that you guys have, the passion, the knowledge, the wisdom. Let's soak it up tonight and hopefully share that with others as well. So hi everyone for joining. If you've just joined, welcome. What we're chatting about today is pinned, so please get your questions ready. If you have a question, pop it in the comment section, or there's also a kind of a direct way you can send a message as well. And we'll wave into everybody. We kind of had a question at the beginning, didn't we? We said, if you've been to couples weekend, any kind of couples weekend, not necessarily the one that we have at Jesus House, but lots of churches do them, lots of kind of organizations set them up. If you've been, just put a red heart in the comment section if you've been before, or if you're going for the first time, either with Jesus House or another church, put a yellow heart, and let's see how many people have been to that throughout the course of today. And if you've never been before, what are you waiting for? Hopefully by the end of today, it will change your mind. So let's get stuck in.
Okay.
So we have a few questions. Nothing crazy, I promise you. These are.
No, I don't mind the crazy. Okay.
But just a kind of an easy one. What is kind of the key to longevity in marriage? What's the key to success? We have a neighbor of ours. Actually, most of our neighbors have been married for a long time. It's kind of a retirement area. So the one 2 doors down was married for 43 years or something like that. And they all have their different kind of answers. What would you say is your kind of answer to 14 years of marriage?
You go.
No, you go.
I think one of those will definitely be friendship, that you're friends, that you're good friends, you talk a lot, you talk about everything, you spend quality time together. I'd say first of all that you're great friends.
Okay. I think the and Shola, I'm sure will agree with me on that one. I mean, if we put that up there first, I think the overarching thing for us, especially as Christians, is knowing that we can't do it on our own. And so we start from a place of a complete reliance on God. It's foolhardy to think that you can make a marriage work on your own. And I think as long as we know this is a threefold thing, and that there's a third person in it, then the person God is in this thing, and he's not just in it in a sort of religious way. He's in it. You know, he's the reference point. He's the one we ask for help. He's the one who defines it. It's run by his rules, and we live it by his standards. And you know, once that is seriously embedded in a relationship and a marriage, then it stands a good chance. It's going to be there for the long haul. So I think that would be the first thing. And then of course I would agree with Shola. Under that canopy, I would agree that friendship is critical, and then I would add that respect for each other is a big thing. Respecting each other, appreciating each other, and not just doing it in our heads, but saying it, so that it's a major part of the relationship, and acting it out as well. Yeah, I think that's.
And communication.
Yeah, yes. I think that kind of time with, I mean, with a good friendship.
Yeah.
Then you better be talking with your friend.
Yeah.
And talking deeper and deeper. Yes, that, and listening to your friend. Yeah, not just talking, but listening as well.
Okay. Well, thank you. So I guess a follow-up. Those keywords you said around communication, listening, respect, friendship, would you say that that's your definition of a good marriage? Are those kind of the keywords you would use as definition for a good marriage?
Yeah,
Definitely
I think so.
keywords.
Yeah, I think they would be part of the things that are the major ingredients in a good marriage. And where those things are not there, then you know the marriage is heading for troubled waters. Okay.
So if it's not there,
yeah.
I'm just being quite honest and transparent, I think, because that's really key. Would you say that your marriage has lived up to that definition over the 14 years?
I think I generally find it very difficult to score myself. It's very, it's always awkward for me because that's like asking me to score myself. Yeah, I don't know.
I think our marriage, to the glory of God, is getting better year after year after year. And definitely our friendship has grown over the years. Our communication has definitely grown over the years, especially the bit about listening, not so much the talking, but also the listening.
That's I don't know why that sounded like a loaded statement. I was pulling your leg because just the emphasis, especially not just the talking but the listening. I think you kind of, yeah, I feel like you scored me a pass mark. I feel that was a nice way of saying to me, Agu, you've changed, you're doing better.
We're both doing better.
It's okay.
We are both doing better. So yes, so I definitely believe with all my heart that our marriage is getting better and stronger as the years go by.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is, I think I've been blessed with a wonderful marriage. That's the truth. I think that quite a lot of that credit will go to, of course, God, but Sola. I think she's done an amazing job being accommodating me. I don't think I'm necessarily the easiest person to be married to, but she's done quite an amazing job accommodating, some of my eccentricities. Yeah, and I think some of these things we talk about, we don't just talk about them. We've walked through some of these things. So if we talk about communications, for example. When we got married, it wasn't as good as it should be because Shola's communication style, I didn't really understand it. And I think she didn't really understand mine. And some parts of it was wonky, especially mine. And I would try to make a point, and she would say, "You're shouting," and I'd say, "No, I'm not shouting. I'm emphasizing the point." But she said, "You've raised your voice." I said, "No, that's just a way to drive home a point." But eventually I agreed that the decibels at which I was speaking was not conducive to a sensible conversation. So yeah, I think I've changed. I don't think many years I've spoken at
yeah. I know, and we both have. I mean, it's both of us. I mean, mine was, I used to get really emotional. Really emotional.
And I didn't know how to handle it.
And that emotional, they would say, "Why are you crying? What's all that about?"
I mean, we're having a conversation and then you just burst into tears. I think that the conversation, you've wrecked the conversation. This is supposed to be rational and reasonable. We're supposed to talk, and now you're crying. Is that supposed to make me feel bad? I can't even present my case anymore because you're crying. So what am I supposed to do?
Oh
yeah,
so now it's like, now if I'm upset, I go and gather myself and come back and and yeah, so yeah. We've by God's grace we've come, and God is helping day by day.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Everyone's laughing at the very very
you draw some similarities from what
which similarities?
No, from the I know, I mean, like some of the ingredients of my,
oh Lord of mercy,
the growth from when we got married.
And I think that's the beauty in it, is that with marriage you have your whole life together to learn. There's no point trying to rush and learn each other in a day. And I think we've
learned. I know you've learned. Yeah, I mean, we've both learned. Yeah.
He has learned a lot how to really talk, but we won't go into that today. But yeah, thank God for the growth. I think that's really important.
Okay. Thank God.
I think I like that word that both of you use, that word growth, and marriage is really about growth. It's about two people coming together and growing day by day. You learn new things about each other. I mean, there's some time that was it a couple of months ago, there was something I was like, wow, I didn't know that about you. It was like, So are you saying that you know everything about me? I'm like, well,
That was a very
like, and so that growth, God, what, like, once the marriage is submitted to God, and God is, just it's a journey of growth. I really believe that marriage is a journey of good growth.
And I think what helps is that commitment at the start. There are two people who are committed to each other, committed to going on this journey, and submitted to God, and submitted to human beings as well. Because you can say I'm submitted to God in a very religious way, but it's a big thing for me that couples must have people who both of them are submitted to, who they both agree that if we get into turbulent waters, this is a reference point. These are people who are spiritual, who have our backs, and who have experience. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they have to be married. You see, that's the thing. But they have enough experience, enough knowledge, and it helps where they also have a marriage that you can look at as a reference point. But that's not a deal breaker. There are loads of people who have learned so much about life that can input into relationships that are not necessarily married. But that submission is critical. And I think those things are important. I think, you see a younger generation today, sadly, that where commitment is not a major factor. And so, if the porridge is cold on 3 days, then I'm out of the marriage on the 4th day or something like that. No, we're committed for the long haul, and we're going to make this thing work. It's going to glorify God. People are going to want to get into marriage when they see our marriage, and we're submitted to God. So we're going through a school where God will teach you patience in marriage. He'll teach you, submission to each other, serving each other. These are not the glorious parts of marriage that people talk about, but those things are fundamental to a good marriage. He'll teach you to love when you don't feel like it, and then you suddenly realize that love is a bit more than the giddiness and the butterflies in the tummy. Love is a commitment. I'm committed to loving you. Today, I don't feel like I love you, but I love you. Yeah.
That's a powerful one. How do you feel that you love me today?
Okay, I just love the way with a straight face of asks all these questions. And you never know whether he's joking or not.
Brilliant. It's actually brilliant. Oh my goodness.
With a very straight face.
Yeah. Oh wow.
Yes, I do love you today. Yeah, but it's I think what you said there was really powerful about, and so many times we've heard it before, love being a choice and a commitment. You have to wake up and decide, today, despite whatever, I'm deciding to love you. So yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Let's move on.
I think
everyone's laughing.
Yeah, I think that's really, really detailed, definition of what a good marriage is and the ingredients. I guess my question to follow on from that is, how do you keep the marriage fresh, vibrant, fun? Is it just based on your individual personalities, or are you intentional to keep it fun and vibrant? And if you are, what are the things that you do?
You definitely have to be intentional, because life gets so busy, so many things, and sometimes we joke that at times we're like ships passing in the night, so you're just there. So you do have to be intentional. So some of the things we do is we have like mini dates, where we'll say, okay, we'll do breakfast together. Or sometimes we'll just, spend the morning in our room and just laugh about everything.
There are some people here and not married. You said we spend the money in a room. You're going to get people thinking.
Well, I mean, sometimes, but sometimes no. You're just lying there, just jiving, just talking, and everything is funny, teasing each other. And then sometimes we travel, and not as much as we'd love to, but travel, spend time together. I think the thing is to intentionally. I'll tell you something. So a birthday a couple of years ago, I got tickets. I got prime tickets to watch. What was that musical? I can't remember what that musical was. So I thought.
I'm trying to remember. Well, what's the lady? Your favorite lady who passed. It was a Motown thing.
It was, yes, it was Story of
Motown
Motown. So I got prime tickets, and immediately we sat down and the thing started. I thought to myself, "Ooh, yikes! I don't think he's enjoying this thing. Prime tickets, The next day was his birthday. We went to Costa. We spent time in Costa. I think with time in Costa, we spent maybe £15. He enjoyed the £15 Costa more than the Motown tickets. I don't want to tell you how much I spent on those tickets. And so from then I learned that it's really about spending time together. It doesn't have to be expensive. You don't have to travel. It could be Costa, and you just sit there, you just have a coffee, or it could be at home. You just cook a meal, you sit down together. So I think part of it is that making sure that you're spending quality time together in whatever way.
Yes. And I think a big thing that we picked up from that, what this story she's told, we kind of have known, we've always known it. And interestingly, we teach it. But, sometimes you teach it and then you end up, being the practical example of how you shouldn't do what you said people shouldn't do. Is that, we must learn to love each other how the other person wants to be loved, not how we want to be loved. Now, going out to the theater, spend an evening watching a production is one of the best things that happens to Sola. She loves it. She just recently went out with Noni. They had a fantastic time. Noni's
to watch Tina Turner.
They went to watch Tina Turner. They had a fantastic time. They came back. They were walking on air. Now, for me, going to sit in this dark place with strange people around me. I'm 6'6". The seat in front of me was literally on my laps. They didn't let me sit on the edge. They put me in the middle.
That was my first.
And then, I'm just thinking, what kind of torture is this? What kind of birthday present is this? I'm suffering here. And fortunately we talked. So she said, do you enjoy it? I said, no. I said, it would have been nice if we just went to a restaurant down the road and just relaxed. So, of course, next day we went to Costa, and it was fantastic at Costa.
We had such a great
time.
All of £15.
I had a nice cappuccino, I don't know, whatever I had. We talked, we laughed. And I told her, this is an amazing birthday present. This is wonderful. It was better than all the money she had spent, squashing me up in some theater in the West End, with strange people all around me, and everybody seemed to be enjoying it. I was wondering, what exactly am I doing here? So anyway, I think the key to that is learn the other person's love language, and love the person in that way.
It's
whatever that.
I have a similar story. So do you remember Michael Jackson?
I knew you were going to. I was going
Why did you go to see the musical?
So we went to see Michael Jackson the musical. I don't remember what it was called, but Michael Jackson the musical. This is quite. I don't think we were married yet.
I can't remember.
No, I don't think we were married yet. And so we went, and I studied theatre as one of my courses at A-level. I love theatre, anything drama, I'm there. The quirky type of drama, the film, anything. And so I thought, he's gonna love this. I did the seats, I did everything as well, and he was really and dancing.
I liked it.
You did. But when we got out, or the next day, he said, "Oh," so I thought that was the gift. And then he said, "Did I get him anything to open?" He said, "Did I get him anything to open?" And I'm like, that was a gift. And one of his love languages is gifts and quality time. But I just for so long couldn't get my head around why he wants to. I thought that girls like gifts, so the girls should be received, but I'm not really a gift person. And so I remember for my birthday, he went all out gifts, and I appreciated it, but it's just not really my thing. But I like the gifts though.
I know you do, because last time, I think recently, I didn't really get you gift, and you
he
gave
didn't
me a
get
lecture
me, he didn't get
on
me
that
a
one.
card. Like cards. Cards are less than £1. I don't see why you can't get a card. And he didn't get a card. And so,
but I can actually understand that in terms of love languages, because I don't really do cards. It doesn't matter to me. I don't read them. You know, some people on this platform are going to say, "You mean you didn't read my birthday card?" But I don't really know. They're just like, yeah, it's okay.
But you're doing better.
Yeah. Because Sola told me it's important. She's taught me that it's important to read them, that people express themselves in the words, stuff like that. So, but I've learned from her that cards matter. So I don't, I go out, I buy the cards, stuff like that. But I'm okay if you don't give me a card. That it doesn't matter. It doesn't express your love to me that you don't give me a card. But that's me. I understand that.
after doing it, said now I know.
No, I know.
No, they really.
Yeah, but
they release. Isn't that true? I always read them release, and the
such
reason I
lovely
read
words
hers
and
is
prayers.
because she really expresses her heart in her cards or her messages to you. So I'm not saying that because she's on, but hers are heavy. I mean, you get the feeling that she's poured herself in, and I've got better. So I read them. But when we started out, this whole card thing, I'm just thinking myself, it's a bit, you know, and I just, you know, I think acts of service, you know, when people do things for me, I think that really touches me when they make a sacrifice. And Shola does that a lot, and that blows my mind. You know, I'll come back and, you know, she'll sorts out everything, you know, around me. I think I'm actually spoilt by her because she does so much in that regard. But for me, that's my love language. So as far as I'm concerned, my wife loves me because she just does all this stuff, you know, for me in so many different ways. And I think that's my big love language. And it's just important for us to find out what works with the other person. Because you can imagine, Shola loves cards. So you can imagine if she thought, I'm going to show him I love him. And then she keeps sending me these cards. And I'm thinking, what is going on? Why does she want to cause a problem with the rainforest and just create an ecological problem? Because it doesn't matter to me. Yeah.
But you see what I've also done, which I think helps, is so it's Mother's Day tomorrow.
Yeah.
I say, have you got my Mother's Day card?
Yeah.
Have you got Sochi's Mother's Day card? Oh, yeah. Because there's no need me like, oh, I'll wait and see if he remembers. No. They say that.
She always reminds me.
I always remind, have you got my Mother's? Have you got my, you know?
Yeah.
The card? I do.
Yeah. Before her birthday, the day before her birthday, she'll say, have you got the cards? Have you gone to buy the cards? You know, have you bought Sochi's so that he can write the cards? So, you know, there's no need pretending like, you know, you want the card, you know, there's a likelihood he could forget. You set a trap for him, hoping that he'll forget, and then the marriage blows up, you know. So since you know he's likely to forget, why don't you just tell him? There's almost 6. There was once she said to me, it's almost 6 o'clock.
Yeah, shop's about to
I
close.
haven't seen you go out to buy any card. Shops are about to close. Go and get my card. So off I went to the high street, bought the card, wrote, you know, all the nice things in the card, presented it to her. She was very happy, thanked me for it. Marriage continues. Everybody's happy.
Oh, man, you know what? I know this is, we're laughing, but that's such an amazing gem. Someone just said it. There's no time for games. You know, life is already short and we want memories. So I've definitely learned what I'm going to do on June the 3rd.
Yeah.
Just think. Everybody, please help me. So
yeah, I think that I think those were some serious gems that you both dropped. I think for us, you know, it's when you start out, it's very easy to assume that the person wants, you know, to be appreciated the way that, you know, your love language is, because that's, you know, that's your own world purview. So sort of almost impress it on them, which is you know, how we started, and then we learned
Yeah.
And you know, I now know that okay, this is because I just like Pastor, I couldn't understand, you know, why you so about cards, you know, and but now, you know, I can buy like 3 or 4 and just
Yes. I buy them in different
big
sizes as well. You know,
sizes.
it has big ones,
I
small
don't,
ones, everything.
sometimes I
And,
don't buy
and then some days when I'm looking for things in the drawer, I'm like, okay.
You know, and it's so funny because you know this is how you get caught out. So to save all this stress, I buy them in advance. Just buy the cards and store them. So one day she was going through the drawers and I even bought the cards that I would say sorry, you know, when I did wrong things. Unfortunately, she found the card, so she was like, you're planning to do something and you wanted to prepared to say sorry. But I said, no, it's just being wise and organizing just in case something happens. No need to go to the high street to say sorry. Whip
Just
out the
whip it
card,
out of-
right, you know, I'm sorry, I love you, and give her the card. Life goes on.
That's a clever one. Wow.
Yeah.
But
No, that was,
but okay, if you do it, hide it properly. I put mine in the drawer and she found it.
I certainly will. Thank you very much for that.
that was a good one.
Yeah.
That was good. I can see all the comments. Good idea. Coming in. Let's move on and just to point out the other gem about, you know, love and appreciate the way that the other wants to be loved and appreciated. Which is someone is saying, oh, that's my sister. Too many gems, honestly, guys. So that's why you should share this feed and obviously get your notepads out. Let's move on. So they say the only that phrase, the only
Somebody says, what if the other person's love language is designer, perfumes, bags, flowers, etc., and the other party thinks otherwise? No, I mean, to the extent that you can afford it, give them what they want. To the extent that you can afford it. Flowers don't cost a fortune. If you can afford gifts, I mean, when you say designer bags and stuff, I wrap it all together as gifts. If you can afford gifts, then give them what they want. That's their love language within reason. Because no one is saying you should go and max your credit card buying Gucci that you shouldn't be buying, and nobody's saying anything silly like that. But if you can, within your resources, then give them gifts.
Fantastic.
Someone asked, will this life be saved? I believe so.
And we save the life.
Okay.
Absolutely. It will. Thank you.
You know, I wanted to mention, you know, you asked us what some of the things that keep our marriage alive. We're very frank in doing health checks on our marriage. We're very, very frank.
I was going to go to that, but okay.
Yeah, we're very frank about that, Sola and I. We've realized that if you don't check it regularly, if something is wrong, by the time you come back to it, you could have a major fundamental problem. So we do regular checks on every aspect of our marriage, And
what does that look like?
What does that involve, and how do you, I guess, measure how you're doing and that health check, you know, and how is it actionable?
I think any one of us instigates it depending on what we feel is wrong. You know, so I think a healthy sexual life is part of a good marriage. And sometimes Shola and I get very, very busy. And, you know, I always tell her men are different from women. You know, we have issues. We need this stuff like air, you know. So I tell her that you can be going on. I cannot go on. I don't want to go and blow up on the road. So there are times I say to her, I don't want to become a monk. We need to have a chat. And then, you know, then we talk about that whole area. So, you know, somebody's got to bring it out, you know. Yes. And there are the times that she will instigate it and she'll say to me, you know, we haven't spent time where I listen to her, which is a big thing for her. And then, you know, we'll kind of, you know, and the couples weekend away has helped us at Jesus House. I mean, this will be the 24th one. And I do some of the teaching there that I've done, you know, for the 24 years. My late wife, Ify, and I kind of started it, and, you know, it's gone on for 24 years. And Body and Kemi have taken over. They are marriage pastors at Jesus House, and they do an amazing job. You know, they get us to make commitments to each other, you know, and some of those commitments.
Oh my goodness, speaking of which.
Yeah, yes. Speaking of which, you haven't fulfilled your commitment, but don't let's disgrace ourselves. It is go and fulfill your commitment before they say the pastors have failed. But yeah, so we make commitments to each other, and that's beautiful. You know, we sign them and make pledges to each other. This is what we're going to do. And so those things help us take health checks as well, you know, where you're saying, hang on a second, we haven't done exactly what we said we should do. And I'm kind of going to plug Couples Weekend Away. There's one next week, and you can join. And then there's the big one next year in May, where it's going to be 25 years of Couples Weekend Away, and we're going abroad for it, somewhere in Europe. I think Greece or Crete or one of these beautiful islands. So yeah, you want to get it. It's a fantastic time. You time with your wife, fun time with other couples, loads of dancing, lovely dinner, loads of games, and loads of teachings. But the teachings are not heavy teachings; they're real life teachings. So I think health checks are important. Please, if there's any couple that's here, please do health checks. You know, we do it for
the frequency.
Sorry?
How regular?
Someone asked how regular.
How regular? We haven't fixed. You know, we haven't said we must do health checks every month. Some people can do it in that, you know, more organized way. But once we just regularly, we'll just sit down and talk about the state of our marriage. You know, we'll take an opportunity, maybe when we've traveled, maybe the house is quiet and we're alone, and we'll just talk about the state of our marriage. You know, what should we do better? You know, where have we, you know, kind of dropped the ball a bit and stuff like that. Unfortunately, because we have created a safe ground, both of us can afford to be vulnerable. We're very vulnerable in our marriage. You know, I remember I was telling someone yesterday that if my wife was not a good person, she could have hurt me because of how vulnerable I am to her. You know, when it says naked and not ashamed, we're genuinely naked and not ashamed. And it's vice versa as well. So it's important as couples to create a safe space so that, you know, I can form for every other person, but I should not be forming in my marriage. You should know me as it is with my issues and help me sort out my issues, you know. I should feel safe to come in there and open up myself and know that you're not going to hit me or hurt me or use it against me. And that really helps. That way you can then have genuine health checks.
That's so important. We'll come on to more of that, but there are a lot of questions on CWA, so I just wanted to plug that. So Couples Weekend Away is a retreat that the church that we go to, that we're part of, Jesus House, that we do every year. And the beauty of it is that it's at the same time every year, pretty much. So you can actually pencil it in your diaries, start saving for it, etc. So it happens on between the Friday and the Monday, the end of May, so that bank holiday. So we always have a bank holiday Monday. So the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, leading up to those 3-4 days is when it happens. And it's happening from the 26th to the 29th of May. Details on how to, I think there's still some spaces. So details on how to go about and book. If you're definitely free next weekend, please do come down, because certainly we found it really, for lack of a better word, it just hits the nail on the head. You know, whatever it is that your marriage needs at that time, the Couples Weekend Away, because it gives you time, you know, when you get there. And the team, I have to just shout out the team. Tight Knots team are
amazing.
They are incredible.
Amazing.
You know, I can't shout enough. You know, everything from when you get to your room, everything's sorted out amazingly
it's
well.
It's very personalized.
Yes.
Personalized from when you, as you say, when you get in, and there are a plethora of activities. Do you remember any of the activities?
So I think 2 stand out for me, and activities change, but yeah, there are lots of activities. One is kind of I can't remember what day it is that they separate. So the men go into one room and the women. And I certainly always find that just so amazing. Because I think one thing the enemy does, especially to marriages, is that he makes you feel that you guys going through what you're going through, you're the only couple going through, and he tries to alienate you, you know. But once you hear, oh my gosh, your husband does that too,
Yeah.
mine does it too.
What does your husband do?
I was actually waiting. Now, what was the point to say next? I knew there was something coming.
We're going there. I can tell you guys lots of things.
But on that note, though, I have to be honest that I think Pastor was talking about creating safe spaces, and that is the sort of the atmosphere. That's what you feel.
Yeah.
That you feel there. You know, particularly like the guys. When we're talking, because you know, guys can be very logical. You know, we are, and at least I know I certainly can be. So, and so when I'm with other people, I'm like, okay, that's, you know, there's nothing wrong with me, and you kind of relate and understand, and it's also the wealth of experience, the combined wealth of experience. Marriage experience, you know, done right within a safe space. You know, I think I'm more than I'm just a sponge, just, you know, absorbing knowledge, and you know, and then you don't notice anything when we after, you don't always notice the difference after
Yes. No, on a serious note, literally after, there's so many ideas, and you're meeting couples who are 40 years married, 50 years married, and couples who are a couple of months married. Weeks, exactly. Yeah. So sometimes I've learned from those who are just weeks, because
there was time we were the first.
Exactly.
We were the youngest couple.
The youngest couple. So it's always nice to hear something. And he's right. You know, you will come back and you're refreshed. Yeah. You're certainly listening more attentively. You're more intentional. I remember something we always say is we don't want to end up living like flatmates in the house. You know, we're just so busy. And, you know, for those that have children and you're married, it can do that to you, where you're just dropping the kid off, dropping them, taking them to music school, bring them home. You log onto laptop for work. You know, it just becomes so routine. And it takes, like you said, some of those honest conversations, safe spaces, and that measurement of, hold on a minute, what are we doing? How are we doing? Let's check it. Together. So yeah, thank you very much. So many comments. One of the comments, a lady said that she's not married, but this is making her excited.
That's good. That's very good.
That's good. No, couples weekends are really, really beautiful. I mean, I call Pastor Kemi and Pastor Bode Pastor Love because, you know, each one is always different. There's, you know, always something new. And the attention to, like what I said, detail, the little things.
It's unbelievable.
It's really beautiful.
Anyway, we've sold the couples weekend away. No, but we have because we've been blessed by it.
And then the times of prayer. There are also times when we the prayer, the impartation, the prayer for marriages at the end of it. I mean, I remember last year, you know, at the end when we prayed, it was simply amazing. So yeah. What's the cost per couple? I guess they'll put it
on the chat. I can't wait.
And then the question I saw is, can anyone attend? Yes. Couple. It doesn't matter what church or no church, you know, everybody's invited.
Yeah.
It's frankly no longer a Jesus house thing.
Not.
It's half the people who show up don't even go to Jesus house. And that's what makes it very rich as well. Yeah.
You mentioned earlier that you guys were busy, and I just know that this is certainly, to the couples I speak to, this is kind of I wouldn't say the thorn, but this is the thing that gets couples, is the busyness. Especially when the children are younger. So, you know, under 10, that kind of thing, where they are fully dependent on you. You know, if you're not running 3 different places to try and drop them, how do you deal with busyness in marriage? Or any sort of tips that you guys can give us? And there might be couples on here who are about to become parents as well, or to enter that kind of busy phase. What has worked for you or not worked for you?
Well, truthfully, I can't say that I can't say that. You know, there's some things you say, okay, this is what it's a work in progress. I'm like, Lord, please give me the wisdom. But but yeah, just
Yeah, I mean, I think if we hadn't done certain things, our marriage would have blown up because we are busy. You know, Shola is mega. Shola is like a clockwork toy. You know, she's one of those people. Once she gets up, she's really going non-stop. It's like a steam engine. I mean, I'm fascinated by it. And then she literally collapses on a sofa about 8 o'clock or whatever, 9 o'clock, and you know, she sleeps because she's in one prayer meeting after another. You know, I've never seen anybody in so many prayer meetings, but I'm thankful for it. Shola is in so many different prayer groups, prayer meetings, things that are dear to her heart. That's the truth. Children, the persecuted church, you know, stuff like that. She prays with, they really does something for children. She's there. She's praying with Tayo. She's praying with Kemi. She's, you know, but I'm grateful for that because all that prayer is working for us in the various groups. And then she's busy. You know, now, of course, I'm mega busy. I'm traveling in and out and, you know, all the church stuff. So what has helped us is being intentional. If you're not intentional about anything, it's going to blow up in your face. So we are very intentional in all these things. So we will intentionally say, we've got to put the brakes on and do this. We've got to go out. We've got to go and have a meal and just relax. We've got to, you know, plan a morning when everybody's out and we have the house to ourselves and we can do whatever we want. And I leave your imagination to figure out whatever that is. And don't let your imagination go too far. But you've just got to be, we've got to be very intentional. If you're not intentional, you are going to run into trouble. So intentional about a movie night, you know, you've got to plan it, buy all the stuff, sit down, choose the movie. It's almost like you're fighting against like this tyranny of busyness to make sure that your marriage stays alive, and not just alive on a life support machine, but that your marriage is healthy. And I think being very intentional, you know, you're watching it and you're saying, hang on a second, for 1 month, we've barely spent time together. Saturday morning, we're going out, we're going to have breakfast, we're going to sit there after breakfast and just jive, you know, or Sunday. You just got to be intentional. And even when you have young children like you guys have, you've got to be intentional. If not, those children are going to grow up and leave you with a jaded marriage, you know, and they would go off.
And they grow up very quickly.
And off they go. They'll be with their friends. Next thing they get married, and then they leave you with a marriage that is you know, struggling. So in the midst of all that, you've got to be intentional. You've got to say, okay, this day, children are going to, you know, grandparents or whatever it is, or friends are coming to look after children because we've got 3 or 4 hours with ourselves. You know, you've got to be that intentional.
And it was something that we started doing a couple of days now, but it's so much fun. We go to bed earlier. And then we just lie down in bed and we just jiving, you know, just jiving, teasing each other, you know, just poking fun. And it's, I've actually really enjoyed it.
You didn't tell me that you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did.
You should have told me. I instigated it, so you should have told me that.
Well done.
Yeah, you should have seen it on IG Live. Seen on IG Live that you enjoyed it. You didn't tell me the best.
Well, it just occurred to me that.
Okay. We'll sort it out.
You
have to tell me properly you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
So yeah, and it's amazing. I think like somebody said there that it's amazing the small things, you know. The world makes us think that it has to be the big things, you know, it has to be that great trip, that great night on IG Live, and everybody's like, wow, and 100,000 likes. But you know, just a little thing that we go to bed a bit earlier, we lie down there and we're just jiving, laughing. It's and we just started, but I found it so much fun and so refreshing.
And that takes about 30 minutes, and then we fall asleep. You know, but we spent 30 minutes together, just kind of, you know, just jiving and having a laugh, and
like those impromptu conversations now become extended.
No, that's a good one.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
I have another question. I think maybe you wanted to ask something similar. They say change is the only constant thing in life, and I guess, you know, in life and as individuals and in marriage, change is inevitable. So how do you deal with or manage change? For example, your spouse's it could be physical change, it could be financial change. They weren't earning as much as they used to, or it could even be emotional change. I'm conscious that this is also Mental Health Week, so things like, okay, just had a baby, so the state of mind is different. How do you manage that or respond to that change, especially when it is out of your power, and you're trying all that you can to ensure it doesn't affect the dynamic of the marriage?
I can speak into that because my husband has been really brilliant. So I'm of the age where I'm dealing with that M word. And hubby,
What's the M word?
menopause.
And
hubby, no, not
no, I know, of course.
And when he first of all started, he was like, and initially he found it funny, and he used to crack jokes about it. And I was like, hubby, I'm okay, but if you crack those jokes with some woman outside who is stressed, I mean, it might not be, And then he said, you know what? Let him go and find out what really is this menopause. So he went and he studied, which is typical hubby, actually. He studied, he learned so much now that when he sits down with women and he engages them, they're like, whoa.
I actually teach about it.
And so I say all that to say that I think our spouses, part of it is just getting knowledge about, what we're going through, whether it's the stage where we're just having kids or we're pregnancy, little kids, or even a spouse where people are struggling to have children, various emotions that people go through. I think that gaining knowledge, because I must say that the way hubby found out about menopause and understood really, really endeared me even more, because I realized that because he knew, because of his love for B, he went and found out all that information and do all he can to, help. And he doesn't crack some jokes that I'm like, this thing is actually not funny, But because he understands, even when he cracks jokes, I know he's just trying to lighten the mood. So I say all that to say that I think knowledge is a big one in whatever area it is. Knowledge is a biggie. It really does help if the spouse, and you also feel that your spouse has your back in that area. You feel he's really come alongside in whatever area. I mean, I just use that because that's a real and present and recent thing that we've gone through. And I believe that the strength, by God's grace, I've found to go through this season, this process, this transition, hubby has been a great help in it, a great backbone.
And I think just to add to that, the Bible says about Jesus that we do not have a high priest who's unable to sympathize with our weaknesses. So there are two key words that help in change. One is empathy, and the other is sympathy. Yeah. So the key is to be able to empathize, to understand what the person is going through, and to be able to sympathize with what the person is dealing with as they go through. Now, if you empathize and sympathize, then you pray for the person, you come alongside the person with understanding, which is the knowledge that you've garnered, and then you're a real help to the person as you go through. Part of what causes the challenges in marriage is that you don't empathize, you don't sympathize, you are ignorant. And so you're just an irritation, because you have no idea about what I'm dealing with, either like Okpe mentioned, the pressure that's affecting my mental well-being, or the emotional state I'm in as I'm waiting for this child that we're believing. You have no understanding, or the pressure I feel as a man and I'm not providing in any way, and how is affecting my self-esteem. You have no understanding about that. You don't empathize, you don't sympathize. So those are the things. So I think those two things we learn from Jesus. How did he deal with us with all our mess? He sympathized with our weaknesses. And I always say to people that he didn't have to come from heaven to come and understand it. But part of why he came here was to have saturation knowledge of this problem of these people. They're so messed up, I better come and stay here with them and understand why they're so messed up, so that when I go back to heaven, we can sort out the problem and I can keep whispering to the Father as he's doing now. When they blow it up, I can whisper to the Father, don't worry, I understand. Can we send our spirit so that, I know you have to judge sin, send our spirit so that they can repent, so we can forgive them, because I understand how they got there. I don't condone it, but I understand. I empathize.
Amen.
Oh, wow. That's
That's
thank you.
amazing.
Thank you,
Oh, wow.
Pastor.
You can now take an offering for me. That was a good message. I was joking.
Blessed to be blessed to be a blessing.
Blessed to be a blessing.
Yeah, that's amazing, and it was just a nice way to round us up.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. It
Thank
is
you
9
very
o'clock.
Thank you.
Have more questions, but we'll save it maybe for a part 2.
There is just one more.
One
Just
more.
one
Okay.
more. Just
Okay.
one more.
Okay.
And this is the last one, pastors. If there is, someone who is online, and I think we've talked about a number of things: good marriage, the ingredients, being intentional, and all of those things. But where their marriage is at the moment is heading for the rocks. They've tried a number of these things that you have said, and is heading towards, I think, what's the legal term when there's
Irreconcilable differences.
It's heading towards that. What would you say would be steps to begin to actually reconcile and to put the marriage back on a good footing?
Apart from coming to CWA next week.
That would actually help.
Yeah, that would help. And there have been testimonies.
Oh, we have some.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys know,
Yeah.
you and Open know some of the testimonies of people who
Yeah.
came and didn't come together.
Mm-hmm.
They came because Kemi and Bode made them come, but they came. There was nobody was interested in anybody. They didn't even come together, and this has happened even before Kemi and Bode took over. We have examples. I think I saw one of the daughters of one of those marriages that is still together on this IG live, but they came to that marriage. It was over, and this was like 20 years ago, and it was interesting. I think I saw one of their daughters who's now grown up and who's married herself on this IG live. That marriage is still very alive. So those things help. So I think to hit the nail on the head, I think there are a couple of things. I think as long as both couples, both people are willing to work at it, you see, because it takes two people who are willing to work at it. If they're willing to work at it, then please let's not underestimate the power of prayer. Let us just not underestimate what this God can do. So that's always the starting point. Secondly, let's understand what can happen when people get the right counsel, the right information, the right pastoral care, the right people inputting into the relationship. That will make a world of difference. And I think those two things as starting points would probably kickstart something that reverses a lot of things, as long as both of them are willing to work at it. That's the key thing.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Pastor.
Pastor Charlotte, did you want to add or?
No. That was
Okay.
Oh, that is amazing. Thank you guys all so much.
So much.
I know that CWA is going to be fantastic, as it always is. And even if people don't end up going to that, I just hope that the gems that have been shared today, I know some people have been taking notes, is going to really help a lot of people. So thank you guys so much for joining. We know you're busy, so we appreciate.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you.
And if people can't join this year, let's look forward to next year.
Yeah.
And it's going to be on some lovely island somewhere in Europe, and we can really have fun.
Yeah. And also to say that Kemi and Bode, Tight Knots, they have so many resources that people can, tap into, they can access. So hopefully we'll be able to put that in, you know, about the resources that are available. Also to say for the ladies, Pastor Kemi also runs midnight, you know, praying for your husband. And, you know, last year we had this whole period where we're praying for our husbands, and it's amazing the impact all those things have. So there, just to say that there's so many resources that we can tap into that Tight Knots has.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Thanks,
bed.
guys. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
And we hope you were blessed in some way.
Yes,
Definitely.
All right. We're going to have our 30-minute discussion now, and then we're going to fall asleep.
Right.
Enjoy it. Enjoy.
All right.
Bye.
Take care.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
So much.
Thanks, Okwe and Timmy D. Love you, kids. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.